Dating Telco, we continue with our training for accounts receivable, account executives training, and we continue with the issue of reconciliations. In this part five, we're going to take a quick look at the customer ledger. We're going to understand what the ledger shows us, and we're going to understand what its use is just from a very quick and easy point of view. I would encourage you to only have a look at the customer ledger once you have done everything else. Once you have gone through the invoices, done the background check of the customer, checked for invoice completeness, checked for payments completeness, and dealt with any anomalies. Once you've done that, you are now ready to look at the customer ledger and what it says and understand the customer's payment and invoicing activity on the customer ledger. So let's have a look at what the customer ledger tells us about the customer. Okay, so we're going to go back to our original client that we were looking at, Mr. Moffat Jamu. And in order to access the ledger, we go back to the contact of Mr. Jamu, and we're going to go to the partner ledger over here. Now, partner ledger is simply a summary of all the inbound and the outbound. So inbound meaning in the customer payments to us, outbound meaning all the invoices we've raised for the customer, where the customer owes us money. And this gives us just a very quick look at what has been going on in the customer's account at a very summary level. Um, Let me describe to you a couple of the things that are of interest when you look at the customer ledger. First of all, you've got your date filter function. So remember that this customer signed on with us on the 4th of November 2022. And so the first thing we want to do is make sure that our ledger gives us a full view. So I'm going to take it all the way back to the 1st of November 2022 to start with and take it all the way to the current date. Just so that I can see a full telling of the customer's account. Then in terms of the account itself, I just want to see the customer's receivable account. In other words, the debtor's account of the customer, what he owes us for our services to him. He might also be a supplier to us, but at the moment, I'm only interested in his receivables account. Then I would also sometimes like to look at the customer's account, including unposted entries. In other words, if there are any draft invoices or draft payments that are included in the customer's account, I'd like to see those, not just only the posted events. Once I've done that, I'm ready to view Mr. Jamu's account, and I can expand it by clicking on this little button over here, and it's going to give me all the details of the account. On this line here, we see the summary. We see the initial balance because when he started with us, he didn't owe us anything. We see all the debits, the summary of all the debits. We see all the summary of all the credits, and we see the balance that's either owing or due to him. In this particular case, it's a negative balance, which shows that it's a balance due to him because he has made prepayments to us. So we are owing him 531,140.53. In other words, he has prepaid us to that level. Then we can see all the invoices. All the invoices start with the journal INV. So these are all the invoices that were raised on Mr. Jamu's account. And then we can check once again the completeness of those invoices by just having a look at the dating on those invoices. We see November, we see December, we see January, February, March, April, May, June. We see July, we see August, we see September, and we see October. And similarly, we can also see in one view all the payments that the customer has made to us. And we can see those once again in chronological order in terms of on the dates that these payments were made, and we can have a look at it that way. So one of the major uses of the the partner ledger is it allows us to see using dates what activity has happened on the customer's account. When did money come in? When were invoices raised? And what was the running balance all the way through the customer's account to date? We can then also export this ledger and name it. His name is Moffat Jamu, and we want to give it a date. It's today, 7 October 2023. And if the customer wants to see a detailed account of a detailed view of his account, you can export it, you can save it, and you can then send it to him in a very useful way. Again, you can export it as a PDF, you can export it as an XLS, and send it to the customer or save it somewhere within the system. Let's see. Yeah, we can save it somewhere within the system. Right, and so we can export it and save it as well somewhere within the system where we can find it later and email it to the customer or attach it to the customer's ledger. One last thing about, so there we go, we've saved it in the system, and if we want to open it and see what's going on there, we can. It has been saved as a PDF, which can again be downloaded and sent to the customer or sent directly from the system. If we go back into the partner ledger, we also see another very interesting feature. It's these matching numbers. The matching numbers just give us a sense of whether the invoice or the payment were fully matched with each other, in which case you will see a number like this if they were fully matched. If they were partially matched against payments, you will see them appearing as P's over here. That's another interesting feature. Please remember that your general ledger will be in the base currency of the system. So you're going to see all of these general ledger entries, whether the entry was raised as a US dollar entry or it was raised as a Rand entry, you will see them all appearing as ZWL balances. Why? Because these balances are in our base currency, and the ledger can only be viewed in the base currency. Um, although it will show you a column that says amount currency over here, so you can see some of the amounts that were in US dollars, but in terms of the ledger itself, the debits and the credits will be in the base currency. If you need a further explanation of this, please don't hesitate to reach out to your department head. We'll explain it to you in further detail.